So the next one is Poison the Food Vampire Tech for $600, which is a bargain. Remember, you've got the buy one, get one free until Taylor's marriage. Presumably on July the 3rd. It might be another date, but that's another story. Anyway, to continue. You might have guessed by now that all the food in the West is poisoned. Gates, who owns massive amounts of farmland in America, is injecting all the chickens and the pigs and anything he gets hands on in the US and anywhere else in the world that he got his hands on with his mRNA kill shots. If you're in the UK, which is run by the WEF, you have to register your chickens. Have you registered your chickens, Caroline?
I have.
Why? The obvious reason is that your foodstuff is being used to inoculate you with the kill shots. Which people have avoided, but now are getting through the foodstuff, be it graphene, lipid nanoparticles in the various forms with the PE glycated nanoparticles, producing all those lovely white tubes pulled out of corpses, with mRNA within the lipid nanoparticles. And then we've got heavy metals, nanomachines, parasites, polyethylene glycol, and a whole host of other alien tech now being put into your foodstuffs. We also see that your water supply is being infested with the glycoproteins from venom, be they snakes, hedgehogs, snails, ellipse. Likewise, you'll find that all about you, we've got kill-shotted, who are shedding to the pure bloods, who are now displaying the same levels of nanomachines, have contaminants in their blood from the kill-shotted, and are getting the same levels of coagulation in their blood. So, if you want to commit slow, please get a kill-shotted boyfriend or girlfriend, and then marry them, and then have babies with them. All of this reported in alt media. On the positive side, for me and my vampires, all the foods you're eating in the West are now poisoned. The European Union is putting all of the insect derivatives in your food because, as we've seen with Novavax, they've been breeding spike protein in moths. So when you eat any EU food contaminated with insect parts, the full spike protein and all of the biological capability to produce the spike protein within that comes into you. And of course we've also got the exosomes, which can be protected in the phosphorylated glycoproteins. The EU have been clever and they're putting it in foodstuff that you don't know about, like bread, as it is not denatured by cooking, hence a perfect pathway into your system. New research shows that the plasmids, which are the external DNA to produce spike proteins and cancers and corrupt your DNA, are extant in these foodstuffs. So when you eat them, when they're not cooked, they go into your biome, which is your gut bacteria, which of course bacteria share DNA from other bacteria. You end up with your entire gut microbiome producing spike protein, and also anything else they've stuck into the exosomes, which is P53, deleting genes and a whole host of other stuff. This means all of the bacteria in your gut are producing huge amounts of spike protein to gank you, fed from all the foods you've eaten from the supermarkets. So if you're feeling ill and you haven't had the kill shot, you know it's happening because the food you're eating from the supermarkets, like Sainsbury's, are filled with bioweapons, converting your gut biome, into producing toxic spike proteins, as if you've got the kill shots. Likewise, all the tap water across the West is filled with spike protein put in there by the billionaire owners on the commands of their overlords, the Rothschilds, to gank you slowly. It's been shown all of the unvaccinated now in the West have the same nanomachine levels as the vaccinated. How did this get into these people? I don't believe it simply came from being breathed upon or around the kill shotted. It came from your food and water being totally kill shotted to gank you. That's why yours truly came to Vietnam. And remember, they're also spraying all the stuff over you 24/7 from massive numbers of spray planes. So all the unvaccinated now have the same levels of contamination in their bodies as the vaccinated. And it didn't just come from being around the contaminated kill shotted. It came from your food and water and from what you breathe, contaminated with this technology. Now, doctors state you need EDTA, chelation, on your blood once a month to cleanse you from the bioweapon infestation that is afflicting the unvaccinated. So run off to your doctor for EDTA chelation to cleanse you, because you're all FUBARred. Once you run out of money, that's the end of you, and you can't get your EDTA chelation, and all the poison food and water will totally FUBAR you. might not have the DNA changes of the kill shotting, but you've got all the nanomachine tech linking you up to the 5G to beam you 24/7 in your 15-minute cities. Soviet psychic warfare comes to the rescue. Developed by a super genius, Tim Rifat, who's modest to boot in that Kozyrev time density, cause needs to display a Kozyrev time density effect. It's electronic and therefore using EM radiation and Kozyrev time density flow with the central processor being CERN in Switzerland, has been working this horrendous technology on you. The basis of the nanotech control, which of course is Kozyrev time density flow, cause and effect, where you are ganked to produce Kozyrev time density cause to produce the effect from you at your conception to control your whole life, all controlled by the AI that runs you and your digital avatar, linked up to the AI and the zombies in the coffins that connect the soulless pieces of AI matrix garbage to the fifth dimension via the damned souls in their coffins, as shown in the Matrix films. Control you utterly, with the Psylord being a solar vampire. A CERN central processor has simply been turned into a cause generator for the Psylord. Remember we talked about the sun being the ultimate power source for anti-Higgs field technology to simply cleanse all of reality of its reality and enable me to reboot it as I wish. So if you can, as a 5D Nagwal that's raptured, be in the sun, you can simply use the immense anti-Higgs field of the sun to turn all the quantum information made real by Higgs fields into crushed like a flea. Its ramblings have no effect on reality and it vanishes. So you see the power of this technology. You can simply control the planet if you've got an ascended Nagwal, a god emperor of that race. So all the Kozyrev time density effect produced from you with your death has simply gone into the vampires to produce the effect of the vampires. So in the service we simply hijack the Kozyrev time density that comes from the poison by food, water, kill shotting, inhalation to boost your vampire capabilities. To use, you simply put the negative PC on CERN and the WEF and everything WEFish and the white clear PC on yourself, so all the Kozyrev time density effect comes to you to make you more powerful from the Kozyrev time density nano machine infestation that came through your food and water, so you feed actually off the things that are poisoning you to become more and more powerful. Enjoy. Oh, I like that service. That's a good one. We got a solar vampire update. Aren't you getting excited, cameraman?
I am.
We've seen from the previous service that CERN is the centre of the WEF government weapon systems to control Kozyrev time density. MI6 got their spies Ostrander and Schroeder to steal as much of Soviet psychic warfare, and CERN is simply one big circular particle accelerator whose only purpose is Kozyrev time density control using AI's linked to all of the zombies in the coffins that connect the lifeless, soulless, matrix demonic intelligence of AI to the five-dimensional Riemann manifold via the hundreds of thousands of zombies and coffins located all across the WEF-owned empire. And then, of course, you've got, with all of the nanotech in the kill shot, you've got 6 billion more running around too. And then with Musk and the Neuralink and all of the implanted, you've got them too. Unfortunately for the WEF, CERN is irrelevant. If you look at the Daily Mail, this is the past, you'll find that the sun has developed giant black spots, and it hasn't even been inoculated with the WEF kill shots to explain these dark areas are colder regions of the sun. They are time density collectors as time density goes from causation to effect. Likewise, energy goes from hot to cold. So we haven't talked about Kozyrev time density in that movement of particles, which loses time density with respect to particles that are moving slower. So the sun, with its gigantic black spots, of which there have been 2 to redouble them, have collected all the time density calls from the WEF and all of the machinations of CERN to power the solar vampire Psylord, and released at 1.8 million miles an hour a particle beam that will hit the Earth this Friday and bathe the planet in Kozyrev time density to bring about the solar vampire Psylord's Great Reset, which has already happened. I tell you what, I'm reading through this and going, I've been a very busy boy. I've been busy, Cameron. So you must have wondered why Tim Rifaat could even deign to go against the WEF with their replacement, Jeremiah Schwarzenegger, who was so brilliant simply because he has an IQ of under 100 and a identity thief, an intellectual property thief, and a thief per se, which seems to be all you need to know about the elite. They've been driven batshit crazy by the Psylord. Can Jeremiah Schwarzenegger control the sun? Because he's a member of the tribe. Does the sun respect his tribeness as being the ultimate power? Question mark. It's obviously true that the sun couldn't care a shit about the tribe, and that CERN, the WEF Kozyrev time density engine, has no effect because the Psylord has rendered it obsolescent by taking over the sun and bathing the Earth in Kozyrev time density effect time flow, which has hit on Friday and produced the Great Reset. The WEF, consigned to Elohimic torture, death, damnation, and everything WEF, Jeremiah Schwarzenegger include, which tried to use the power of the sun, which in fact is the purview of Lucifer, have been only allies. Since Lucifer is my chain dog in my basement, thanks to Miley and Katy Perry, the game has ended. So you can see now getting your solar vampire service is a must-have for all you vampires who, like the Psylord, are power mad and have a sunny disposition. Enjoy, go solar. So the next one on psychicwarfare.com, which of course is made palatable for YouTube. Not for the British government where everything's illegal, but I'm not in Britain, am I? I don't care. Soviet psychic warfare decapitation strike vampire tech. A CIA insider revealed that they are using doubles with sophisticated Hollywood face masks to front as Biden. You can see this on alt media. The Psylord stated that he was going to brain burn Biden to the point that he was so useless that using him as a glove puppet would be injurious to the Democrats. So obviously this has occurred, and the CIA are having to use Hollywood made-up doubles to front as the President of the United States. Remember this in the past, as the real one has been brain burned by the Psylord, who of course stated he was going to do this. So this is the turning point in Soviet psychic warfare developed by the super genius Tim Riefat to the present day. Psychic warfare rules the world by controlling world leaders. Biden, brain burned. Putin used to be protected, now he's dog meat. Xi Jinping protected, the Vietnamese president and his lot protected, the great Kim Il-sung and his wonderful family protected. Do we want the picture? Or not?
It's up to you.
Stick it back up. And of course, since Donald Trump has become the new Jesus, he's certainly protected. Anyway, to continue, the former president of the United States, brain burned to the point of being inoperative, even as a glove puppet, all done by development of Yuri Andropov's Soviet psychic warfare by the super genius Tim Riefat. Since all chaotic beings are so similar, this means that everyone who leads any aspect of a government can be brain burned to the point of inoperation and become a Biden brain dead walking corpse. So, all of you leaders of every country, please email me if you wish not to join the Bidenesque. Some of you don't need much brain burning to join him, actually. Anyway, to continue. Time density was used by this Psylord to cause the effect of brain burn in the Biden junta headpiece after the coup that outed the real President Donald Trump, who actually won the election. We have been explaining how Soviet electronics can brain burn scum such as the criminal paedophile, allegedly, Biden, and the criminal paedophile, not so allegedly, Hunter Biden, who's in the Trump Jesus picture being ministered to by the president. Anyway, to overlay this, of course, we have time density that controls 5-dimensionality and the maze in which the human rats run. Because of time density, the expenditure of time density, which is spirit to enact the real world effect of brain burning, the scumbag, alleged paedophile criminal junta puppet head Biden, which of course is time density effect. This means that even though you descend into the Dirac Sea to brain burn this piece of shit, simultaneously you're also using time density as you're the cause of the piece of shit's demise. This is insufferable, as the Psylord will lose spirit time density to take out the lowest form of scum, Biden. The solution has to be found. The CIA developed a solution for the Psylord, which was the Jeremiah Schwartz program, where this under 100 IQ, identity thief, intellectual property thief, tried to steal me, and therefore his time density loss to produce the time density effect he wants has been scapegoated. So whatever I do, he suffers. And through him, I can get anyone else associated with the program and the tribe if I see fit. But of course, they've downloaded their karma into the second coming of Jesus Christ, which of course was Charlie Kirk. Nevertheless, this technology can be used by the silo to brain burn not only Biden, who's brain burnt to the gazoo, and but every self-similar leader of the entire world who is not protected by your truly. This means that every leader of every organization in the world now can be brain burned and done in using Soviet psychic warfare leptionics, and time density for the cause is supplied by my scapegoats and their offerings unto the fourth generation, who are Omega Helais to supply the time density. They, of course, downloaded this into their Jesus Christ second coming scapegoat, Charlie Kirky boy. That's why he must have a Charlie Kirk service. This means that all of the top leadership of the world can be taken out by Soviet psychic warfare using the template of Biden, the originator of the brain burning of a president, which is not true because of course they used it on Hillary Clinton too. But of course she seems to have recovered partially. We call it the Psylords brain burn, him being the originator of the Soviet psychic warfare leptionic time density decapitation technology. That's a big word, isn't it? A big set of words. So anyone who's in leadership can be brain burned by this technology. Wow, you are. This technology of leptionics makes it very easy to brain burn. And we know that the former president was his brother, Beau Biden, because according to his granddaughter, Joe Biden had died from a stroke in 2019 or something. So, you have to look into the past, put on the negative PC on your targets, and a clear PC simply uploads the good stuff from the target until it becomes like Biden, a brain damaged, brain burned, demented shell that is so damaged it can't operate. All powered by the WEF and their offspring onto the fourth generation. So you don't lose time density, they do, and the more you use it, the more WEF get ganked and have to suffer in Omega Hell to power you. Thanks to Jeremiah Schwartzy by my scapegoat and the entire program behind him. Enjoy. P.S. This service is included as part of any vampire service, so if you're a vampire, you've got it. Goblin King Labyrinth update. If one looks at Katy Perry's Wide Awake, one will see that Katy Perry takes the place of the Goblin King in the labyrinth. The little girl Catherine on the bicycle is her soul. She journeys through the labyrinth with Catherine, her soul, to take out Prince Charming, a spirit. As spirits are always male. So the entire video is an Illuminati machine for the demonic mind control slave to quantum superimpose with the Goblin King and leave their soul ganking their spirit once they traverse the maze. A truly horrific video, because once it's achieved, there is no spirit to lift the trapped soul in the Abaddon box out of its perdition, and it's trapped there forever. This leads to Katy Perry's Abaddon box chained to the rhythm video. Her intent upon me jumping out the Abaddon screen to save the woman is there to see. You'll see the end of the Wide Awake video, Katy Perry having the butterfly, which is the symbol in occultism for the soul, and hence demonic mind control, totally manifesting the soul, so it can be trapped and Abaddonized. To think of demonic mind control as simply mind control is to exclude the occult theme of the procedure. This is the cut that cuts him or her totally off from achieving spirit and have their totality downloaded with their soul to be pulled into the Abaddon box for eternal torture, reincarnation, torture, reincarnation, torture, reincarnation, torture, which I've explained in my videos, the complex ones, hence the upturned cross. So in fact the Goblin King has possessed Perry as the witch who is bleeding her soul to kill her spirit so she can be fully damned, and you see Catherine with the bike appears on the screen and Katy Perry's chained to the rhythm Abbott on the screen with the same bike. So the Wide Awake video is perfect, and you simply put it on the target you wish to cut off from spirit and put it in your Abaddon box, be it whole hope, well, an billionaire. Simply get the picture of the prints being punched with the picture of the target, negative PC, burn it, and all the total Abaddonization and their spirit vivisection to consign them to eternal torment as soul in the Abaddon box powers you, your clear PG for your vampire godhood. All done simply, much easier now, because you've got your God Emperor Matrix services. You simply jump in, wake up twice, download twice, pull out twice, wake up twice, download it yourself. Download the targets, so you can simply use the Goblin King Labyrinth from Katy Perry's Wide Awake video and the Chain to the Rhythm video in God Emperor mode, where you simply wake up twice, download nasty stuff with your right hand, upload the good stuff with your left hand, or take out with the right hand, go into the target from that video into the target you're wanting to acquire, and as you poison them, you can then simply leave the target all done on your TV screen. I'm not going to go through it on the TV screen because we've left all that complex stuff behind. This is simply a rendition of the website up on YouTube, all sanitized, so it's not as nasty as it is on the website. Out of my drawers.
That's it.
So, make me a chief druid like the Queen used to be service. $1,200. Page 1 of 3. My goodness. It's just amazing, the output from yours truly. So, the Queen used to be the head of the druids. If you search into the occult hierarchy, you'll find the Rothschilds at the top, as they are the bloodline of Lucifer. And as we well know, this bloodline of Lucifer is so well developed that the Wills Rothschild rape baby is displaying so much power that his cookery videos have gone viral, and unfortunately he's been concentrating so much power on his cookery videos he's got no power to save his hair. Or Middleton from the cancer that extinguished her, so he's got Middleton #2. Anyway, that's another story. Or were before their downfall by pitting themselves against the Psi Lord. So, do you think the royal family won against the Psi Lord cameraman? One step below them, though, are the Druids. This is strange because the Illuminati are below the Druids, which doesn't really make sense if you dig deep into the hierarchy of the cult of the Satanist West. You'll find this documented as Druids are the court magicians of the Rothschilds. What makes Druids so powerful, and why was the Queen the chief Druid and therefore the Rothschilds' highest black occultist? To delve deeper into this mystery, which has never been revealed to outsiders, we need to go into the mechanics of Psi. Druids are the high priests and priestesses of linking the light energy reality with the two lowest demonic levels of the interdimensional universes or multiverses, depending upon your scope of observation. Demons reside in the lowest two levels of the interdimensional multiverses. To reach them, we need to carry out a very specific procedure. This is explained in Castaneda's Fire from Within book, which I would recommend. To reach the two lowest levels of the interdimensional multiverse, which are occupied by demons, the human needs to turn into a tree. To explain this to the uninitiated, this means you move your assemblage point way down to the position of the tree to shape change into the tree, and shape changing is also explained in the aforementioned book. And trees share the same coloration energy field as us, so they're basically akin to humans or vice versa. And it's no coincidence that we were genetically engineered by the aliens to have the same fields as trees to enable us to be possessed by demons from the two lowest universes or multiverses. Since this is an interdimensional construct, the Earth with the moon regulating the soul capture for the interdimensional empire that has been harvesting the human souls, until of course I came along and fucked it all up. Trees share our emanations and are the plant life most akin to us, except their assemblage point is way down at the base of their trunks. If you read The Active Side of Infinity and the chapter on mud shadows, you'll find that humans have had their energy body eaten rather like a chipmunk eating an apple, so it only exists around the ankles. So it's child's play for a mud shadow parasitized human to allow the assemblage point to the only part of the awareness that exists around their ankles, which also coexists with trees, which means they're perfect vessels for demonic possession. So the only purpose of the human race is to enable demons to have vessels to possess. So you can see there's basically two civilizations. The interdimensional empire that breeds vessels to be possessed, the Greys, reptiloids, insectiles and humans, and of course the Nordics, that are the races that, instead of being occupied by interdimensionals, simply feed off, exterminate and hellize interdimensionals. So there are two power blocks in the galaxy. So hence the power of Druidism. When the Queen got into a zero-sum game with the Psi Lord and died, all of the chief druidic power came to the Psi Lord, and of course his vampires, who paid for this service. And I think $1,200 is far too cheap. So once the marriage has occurred, all the prices will be rising massively. What does this imply? It seems that trees impart a power which is above all that of the Illuminati. Why? Interdimensional demons reside in the two lowest interdimensional multiverses, which can only be achieved by becoming trees if you're a shaman. And Don Juan says it's not worth reaching because it's so malefic. Be that as it may, the Psi Lord is power mad and wants to become the Vedic binder of demons who controls all demonic forces because he's worth it. So, one sees that the entire Rothschild structure is based upon demonic possession. This would have been bizarre when I wrote it, but of course what's come along, the Epstein files and all the reports of cannibalism and various other iniquities. And if you look on the People's Voice today, you'll see about Epstein breeding humans with aliens to enable the download of the interdimensional into the human body in a far more efficient way, because humans resist being possessed by interdimensional demons. So if you do a breeding program, breeding humans with aliens, which you did in Zorro Ranch, hopefully the barrier to allowing instant possession at conception can be lowered to the point where all humans are interdimensional vessels, such as the Greys, insectiles and reptiloids. So you can see the big program that's been going on to make you, and more importantly your children, simply vessels for the interdimensional shit. So you might think this is all bullshit. No, just look at the news and what's happening. It's all been put into perspective now by yours truly. So, it's all based upon demonic possession, which occurs via the druidic power and was controlled by the chief druid, the Queen, who by a slaughter at the hands of the Psi Lord has given all her powers to him and control over demons. So he's the binder of demons. One can see the total panic among the royal family as they know they've lost their second place in the hierarchy below the Rothschilds, the Psi Lord, and the Rothschilds, of course, have been Jeremiah Schwartzy boy, so they're now Omega Hellies and bottom of the heap. So let's go into details. We talked about psychotronic crystals and only the piezoelectric quartz version, labeling you to convert into total spirit and other variants, acting as Avalon Cage variants for your hellization. Now you can see the Druids use psychotronic crystal technology on trees with a death force supplied by sacrifice, and the Wicker Man ritual where you're burnt in a woody cage where you can burn your Christ-like sacrifice in the tree cage becomes a new type of technology. Trees hate humans. Why? They cut them down or burn them. So one can see sacrificing humans by burning them alive in tree cages enables the Druids to carry out psychotronic crystal amalgamation with trees. So instead of having to turn into a tree like the shamans of the past, they can use trees in their psychotronic crystal. So on the People's Voice, allegedly, Prince Charles flew to Epstein Island and burnt a child in a wooden box. Now you understand why, allegedly, he did it. This means Druids were the gateways for the demons to enter our world, as they were psychotronic crystal amalgams with the lowest two demonic multiverses to enable demons to enter our world. So the Queen, as chief Druid, was the chief demonic Hellgate to enable demonic possession of the West, which was lost when she was slaughtered like a dog by daring to go into a zero-sum game with the Psi Lord. Bye-bye. Naughty woman queen. There's some pretty nasty words here on the website. So, if you're under 18, do not even try to go behind the paywall to psychicwarfare.com, because there's some nasty stuff there. So, it's for over 18s only. Next, we come to the really evil shit. Christ was nailed to a wooden cross. The hyper-infinite iron was used to bind his soul to the wood, to psychotronically crystallize his soul and drive it into the lowest two demonic interdimensional multiverses. So when Christians worship Christ on the cross, they automatically get pulled into Christ's condition, and their souls are pulled into the interdimensional demonic realm, and demons inhabit them. The Jews identify Jesus as a magician and nothing else, and so his nailing to the cross is another form of forced wood psychotronic crystallization to pull his soul into the lower two demonic realms. So upon his death he became a stargate for demons to pass into this realm. So we see with Donald Trump's revisualization of Christ, he corrected the problem using the power of Sauron, the helmeted figure with his Psi super soldiers above him, and the power of the One Ring flowing through his left and right hands to Hell Eyes, Hunter Biden, who he's ministering to, and the two hands of Lucifer to pull Biden and all the Democrats and Naomi Hell to suffer so America can be great again.